Summer is in and Cronos Chain just had the biggest update ever. And based on data by Chain Inspect, Cronos is now a top 10 chain. But what does this really mean in practice? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. In June of 2025, the Cronos team announced the biggest update ever to the Cronos chain. And I coined it the Cronos 2.0 upgrade, and not without a reason, because with this upgrade that just went live in July, the Cronos chain now is 10 times faster and also 10 times cheaper. This upgrade for the Cronos EVM chain was also very much needed, because the chain is almost 4 years old at this point. And nowadays we have a lot quicker and also cheaper chains available. I'm talking about Sui, Solana, but also a very important one, Base. And we're going to do a lot more comparisons a bit later, but it's very important, guys, that this space is so competitive. You have to keep growing, keep innovating, otherwise you become irrelevant. Just compare it to maybe your old phone. If you bought a phone 4 years ago, probably your new phone will be a lot better as well. Based on benchmarks, for example, here on Chain Inspect, we can indeed confirm that the upgrade was very successful for Cronos, because if you take a look at the top 10 chains based here on block time, we can now find Cronos on number 9 here with a block time of 0.53 seconds. And previously, ladies and gentlemen, this was 5.2 seconds. So definitely that 10x reduction. And you can also see now it is getting very close to the biggest competitors, being, for example, Solana here with 0.4 seconds. Still though, there is work to be done, because the block time for Aptos, the current number 1, is only 0.12 seconds. So that is definitely very good. However, the finality for the Cronos chain is better. So overall, guys, the Cronos chain now is again very competitive. Of course, these benchmarks are just a lot of numbers on the screen, but in the end, it's all about the user experience. Previously, if you made a transaction on the Cronos chain, it took about 5 seconds for it to start processing all these transactions. However, now, after pressing the OK button, it is almost instant. 0.5 seconds is like the blink of an eye. So if you came from Solana, it feels a lot more like what you're used to. It feels a lot more modern, and this is really what we needed for the Cronos chain. So I do urge you to check out the Cronos chain for yourself, but I will show you an example a bit later. Besides making the Cronos chain faster, it has also become a lot cheaper thanks to the Cronos 2.0 upgrade. And this is again very important, because take a look at the competition. Even in 2021, the Cronos chain wasn't the cheapest. We had Polygon, but now, 4 years later, we got again Base, we got Solana, and there, if you make a transaction, you don't feel it. You don't really feel that you're paying for those gas fees. But if you go to the Cronos chain, previously, you'd be easily up to 1 Cro for a token swap. So now that should be about 0.1 Cro, but even if you make a transaction, it is 0.01 Cro. 0.01 Cro. Currently, Cro is 8 cents, so we're definitely talking sub 1 cent, which is definitely a great step into the right direction. Now it's time for a real-life example of how quick and how cheap the Cronos chain has become, thanks to our sponsor CorgiAI, because CorgiAI is hosting this little dApp here with a nice little price pool. So as you can see on that Twitter page now, PAWS is live. They want to know how we can make Cronos chain great again in their AI editor. So what you can do now is you can go to CorgiAI, you can go to their website. I will post a link in the description down below, and you can start chatting and think of a way how you can improve the Cronos chain. And we need, in my opinion, a great intern taking over the Cronos chain official X account to attract more degens, really. Then we're going to press bark here to the right, and you can see the total fee is mainly the message fee. So that's what you have to pay in CorgiAI. And then you can see the gas fee is almost 0. So we're going to confirm this. I'm going to confirm this. Now you can see it should pop up right now in the top right. And then we have to confirm. And we have to confirm here 0.02 Cro. That is very, very little. So let's confirm it now. And there we go. Now I have to wait a few seconds, I think, because the dApp itself needs to think. But if you take a look now at Cronos Scan, it will already have been confirmed, at least on the blockchain itself. But let's see what now or Mr. Intern will say. Okay, it looks like the Corgi bus doesn't really like my ID. But if you have a better ID, check out this page here by CorgiAI, link in the description down below. And if you have the best ID, you will also get about $5,000 worth of the CorgiAI token. So not too shabby. Anyways, that was just one example of how the Cronos chain can be used. But there are many, many other use cases that are now enabled, one being gaming. So I will give you an example. This here is the main city game, and in this game you have to upgrade buildings. But if you do an upgrade, it is all happening off-chain, meaning on an internal server. But now it has become a lot cheaper and also a lot faster. We can also maybe move this to an on-chain environment. So if you do an upgrade, we can all check it independently on the Cronos Explorer. But if you don't like gaming, we also have other use cases. For example, here we got Moonlander, and here you can trade perpetual. So for example, you can trade tokenized stocks, real RWA, directly on the Cronos chain. And thanks to the upgrade, you can now see, if you take a look at fees here, estimated gas fee only 0.25 Cro. And also the speed matters, because thanks to this upgrade, things are happening a lot quicker on the chain, and therefore your long or short might get a better entry. We already shortly mentioned RWA, so real world assets, but I think the most important one for Cronos can be found here on the Crypto.com roadmap, because we are now officially in Q3. Q3 meaning also that we have new items on the roadmap, and one being the Crypto.com stablecoin issued by 1S, 1C, 1 second, 1 cent, and now Cronos is sub 1 second and also sub 1 cent thanks to the gas fee reduction. So guys, expect this to be coming very, very soon. It is mentioned here for Q3, but I do expect it to come, I would say, within the next few weeks. All in all, things are looking quite good for the Cronos chain, but many of you might be asking, why does it matter? Because you can see the price of CRO is still only sitting at about 8 cents. So great upgrades, but zero price movement. And I talked a little bit about this in our recent stream, but let's take a quick look, for example, at that gas fee reduction. In the short term, this will actually reduce the demand for the Cro token because you're paying less gas fees, therefore you need to buy less Cro. So really short term, a small dip, I would say, maybe in the demand for the CRO token. However, if we start the flywheel, if we start to get more traction as a chain, there will be more demand for the token, because to be acting on the Cronos chain, you do need a little bit of Cro, and therefore demand will grow. And of course, demand versus supply. So we hope, of course, the price will grow if demand keeps rising. That's, of course, a big if, but at least we're now setting the stage, at least, for potential price increase. I am definitely betting up myself, but let me know in the comments down below what you think about this tech upgrade. Will it have a big effect on the price, or will it just be a big thing for the dApps on the chain? Let us know, and don't forget, of course, to also hit the like button, subscribe, and also check out our recent video about the Crypto.com level up program if you want to know more about that, of course.